Bruno from Equal, and I'm here to tell you guys a story. This is a story that I know you haven't seen the movies. A story of how I decided I had to relearn something I was doing for years. Something I was doing here in Equal and I have done before coming to Equal, which is TDD. And spoiler alert, the most important part of this story is not a TDD. So this happens as our stories usually happen with a new project. I started the new project with Luis here, and all new projects start like this. Everything is awesome, everything is going to be fine. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. And we were told we would have to work with an experienced guy, and he does TDD like us. And, well, in the paper everything would seem perfect, it would be a match. The technology a little bit outdated, but we said, okay, it's not going to be a pain, it's going to be a challenge. We were wrong. And things we started doing our side of the project, more closed module, and he was doing more infrastructure, and he knew the core business, so he was more into the project. And we started noticing that the test-wise, something seemed different. So yeah, there were tests, but it didn't seem like what he's doing was the same as we were doing. He was doing a lot of integration tests, and he was doing no unit tests in the classic definition of unit testing, just integration tests. And we started discussing with him about what was TDD. And well, for one side said one thing and the other side said another thing, and the vision was clearly different. And at the beginning it was like, okay, we can change this and this will probably convert to the same point of view, but it didn't. It started to go growing, and the bugs started to appear, and the code was very different, the way we did it and he did it, and every time we had to touch his code was a problem for us. And at the same time, we started to doing a lot of little modules that are very close to each other. We started to repeat the same actions over and over again. As we were discussing this, our product owner slash business analyst slash whatever, data koala, let's call it, and Anne was observing all of this, and she came to me and said, okay, so I want to help you guys, but I don't know anything about this. So I see that X person says he's doing TDD, and you guys say you're doing TDD. So for me, as an outsider, the problem is the definition of TDD. So I'm going to learn about it. I said, cool, that might help. So one day she comes to me and says, hey Bruno, I'm watching this talk about TDD, and I need your help. And we started discussing the talk. And at a point I said, okay, I need to see the talk because I'm just talking from my head. I have no idea if I'm helping or not. And I went into this talk from Ian Cooper about TDD on the view from Kent back, and the talk was called TDD, What Went Wrong? And that sounded just alarming to me. After I seen the talk, I was like, okay, so the hell is going on here? Our point of views are completely different from the other developer. I saw the talk and I said, okay, so this is what I'm doing. I'm certain we talked about this. No, this is what we're doing. But at the same time, something was feeling very wrong to me. If this is what I'm doing and he says that he's doing the same, how come there is no clash here? Or otherwise, why are we clashing so much? That feeling started to grow, and then it hit me. First of all, I wasn't listening to the guy. He wasn't listening to me. I wasn't really talking to him about anything right now. We were just arguing every time. We had I remember a day of a meeting here where we are standing right now, and we spent a day talking about TDD and methodologies, and in the end, basically zero. We had nothing to show for that day of work. So we didn't listen, we didn't talk, we didn't even try to see things like he was doing, and the other side was doing the same thing. We were hitting a block, and for me personally, without even thinking about his side of the question, I was feeling that our tests weren't okay either. I knew his view isn't really what Kent Bet defended, but our view isn't felt like it was either. So I started to look at our tests, and I started to feel like, I remember one day I was talking to Lisa, I was like, man, I did this test like 2 days ago. I'm pretty certain. In another module, why the hell am I doing this again? Because I didn't even notice. I was just doing code. I wasn't thinking about it. This isn't not going where I was thinking it was going. This didn't felt right. We are not doing TDD anymore. I remember saying it. This, what I was doing was writing code without thinking about it. This is wrong. This can't be the right thing to do. This is not what I learned to do a few years ago, and it's not what I defend TDD is. So, what the hell? Okay, so I decided, let's go back to basics. So I saw this talk 2-3 times, maybe 4, and I can send you guys the link after. Every time I saw it, I found a little bit of detail that I was missing, something that was sparking some alarms in my mind. So I grabbed the book that I have read like 6 years ago. Wait, I have no idea. I picked up the Test-Driven Development by Kent Beck, and I read it again. And then I picked up the book, and I really read it. And I read it, went slow, and did examples. And at the end, I thought, I'm not doing this every day. Why? So I started talking. I came to the office. I talked to, my colleague that worked with me. I talked with people that were starting doing TDD, that just joining the company. I talked with people that have done TDD for 6, 8, 10 years. And I decided, I'm going back to the beginning. I'm going to explore the cavern like it was the first time I was there. I'm going to start to do TDD again, like I never done it before. And so I did. And I started doing it step by step. And then I realized it. We always talk about the TDD cycle and say it's the red and green cycle. But that's not true. What happened to this? Red, green refactor. And Kent Beck says, write a test, make it compile, make it fail, solve the test, and now do the code. This part is doing the ugliest thing ever. Just make a test pass, and now refactor the code. Now do your classes, do your design patterns, do clean code for Uncle Bob. And in the way, I realized in some part of the way, we forgot about this. And this was one of the biggest problems we had. And we talked about this, me and Luis here. And when we started another module, completely different, a new application even, we took this in consideration. And we removed that big boilerplate of testing we were doing. And we started doing tests. We started to drive our development with the tests. And we remembered, and sometimes we discuss this, but we remember the words of Kent Beck. The tests is supposed to reveal an intention, a behavior, a requirement. It's not to just be there. A test is a unit test in TDD, not because it tests the unity of code, but because it runs in isolation. It has nothing to do with this. We were mixing the concepts. And I don't know how, but we forgot it. We started doing things mechanically, started to do it without thinking, and that was a big problem. And I can continue talking about this, but this is another different talk. What I want to talk now really talk is, what did I learn here? Because I didn't learn about TDD. I knew this from years ago. I may have forgotten. I may have mixed my my conceptions, but I knew TDD. So what did I really learn about this story? Listen. Listen to the other guys. Listen to everyone around you, but most of all, listen to yourself. We don't really listen to us sometimes. We just talk and not really listen. We can't expect the other guy to listen to us if you're not listening to him first. Use your ears to listen and not to just... Well, this works better in Portuguese, actually. And when you start listening, after, not during the listening, this is one problem we all have. We start questioning things before listening. Listen first and then question. But question everything. Question the methodologies, question the other guy, question yourself, question the thing you do every day for your life. You may feel that you are doing it right. No, let me change that phrase. You may think you're doing it right, but I'm sure you feel that you're wrong. And being wrong isn't a problem. The problem is not admitting to yourself you're wrong. The other guy didn't admit that he was wrong or that we were wrong because everybody was wrong, but no one admitted it. So we'll go to the mirror and say, you're wrong. And that's not a problem. Because when you say you're wrong and you admit you're wrong, you can fix the problem. You can learn with it. And so we did. And then I realized that if I'm doing the same thing over and over again, and I have that feeling in my gut that something is wrong, I'm going to suffer a lot of pain. And this reference, Diogo would know. But the thing is, if you're doing something over and over again, stop. It's always a better way to do it. You can make it automatically. You can make it just once, but all together, you can remove the redundancy, refactor the code. You have a lot of ways, but stop it. Stop feeling the pain of doing it every time and every time. But be careful with the mechanics. We aren't droids. And if we are doing something a droid can do, if we are doing mechanical work in our brain shuts down. If I'm doing the same test over and over again, at the fourth time I'm not doing it, I'm just writing code. I'm not thinking about it. So really, be afraid of being the droid. You don't want to be the droid. Droids get hurt. And yeah, this was short, but any questions? Groot will answer you. That's it. Oh, I have to meet the guys, sorry. Oh. What is this? Ah. No, I'm not muted. And that's it. Any questions, feel free. Era isto.
Just one question.
Fourth.
In the end, did you actually change the mind of your colleague?
Ask him. He's right here. No, the other colleague. The other colleague. There's no. We didn't have that chance because he left the project in the middle of the discussions.
He disappeared, basically.
He just literally he disappeared from the project and everything. Just disappeared. He just called one day and said, "Oh, I'm not gonna go there anymore, and the contract is over." We don't know why. But the problems were still there. So, yeah.
How long did this whole journey take?
The thing is, I don't think it's over. And
Never be good.
that's the thing, never be. But well, writing this or discussing this more than writing, because I didn't really write any text here. It made me think about all of the discussions. So it's not over. I think I'm like 3/4 of the way.
Yeah, but you started like more than a year ago, right?
Well, the first talks, the conversation part was with you also, so you were here for a few weeks, I guess. So yeah, it's like a year or so in this. And sometimes I'm still arguing with Luis about our views on this, so I don't think we'll ever be there, but I think the most important part is realizing that something is wrong. And this isn't about TDD. It's really about anything we do every day. The Agile Manifest is a little bit about this also, in my opinion. So we always should listen more and to ourselves and question things.